We have begun. Hello, hello, welcome to Sounds Good to Me. How does it sound to you? It's a pleasure to have you with my buddy Yi Lei Lau in Wellington. Hello. And we have some friends joining us today. Yay!
Yay!
If you'd all like to hello, as you will. There are no rules. So if you'd like to just say hi, that's fine too. You'd say who you are, where you're calling from. That'd be great. Don't jump in at once.
All right. Well, my name is hello, everyone. How are you yet? I am from Saskatchewan, Canada. Still snowing here, folks. So think sunshine. We are ready to plant gardens. Please.
I'll send you some of mine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Yeyet, and I've been wanting to join, and at last I have this free time to join you. In the Philippines.
Oh, nice.
Quite hot here already. Really hot. It's summertime.
Yes, yes.
And hi, I'm Karen. I'm calling in from Dannevirke, New Zealand, and it's really cold here. And if I turn my thing around, you can see my fire going.
Wow, that looks warm. Fantastic. Well, welcome to Sounds Good to Me. Our monthly, more or less every month, we have a little conversation about sound, just to keep the energies going and to, get plug into all the other sound healers around the world, which there's not a lot of us, but we're doing a lot of really great work. And I think that we should continue to have a conversation. That's why we invite you to keep coming back every time. If you have any ideas of things you'd like to talk about, we're always open to that too. So today we have directed the conversation towards light language.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know a lot about light language, so I'm going to leave Yile to talk about what she knows about it. And
well, before I do, maybe we'll ask the panel. And it's interesting because it seems to attract people. We have more on the panel than we have done before.
Yes.
And it's just coming up again in my awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to put it out there before I offer my, interpretation of light language. And I don't know if anyone would like to start. About Catherine, do you have any awareness of what light language is to you, or not?
It's difficult. It's something that has spontaneously arisen inside myself. It feels like it is part of my soul and part spirit guide to me. And I have done no research on spirit language. I think that we all have it. And the ones who have it, they know they have it, and everyone else goes, and the ones who have it go, yeah, it's here. And that's all I know.
Okay. What about you, Karen? What's your awareness or experience with light language, if at all?
Okay, so I had a conversation with you, Yule, regarding channeling, and we decided that we would have play. And at the time, I had been just finished listening about Esther Hicks and how she was channeling Abraham. And I thought, oh, this is cool. I'm open to being a channel. And what came through wasn't Esther Hicks. So that was my experience. And I guess that has opened me up, it's raised my curiosity, and it's like, that's why I'm on the call. It's like, I'd like to know a little bit more about it.
Okay, thanks, Karen. Yeah, that was quite phenomenal when that happened.
Yeah.
We'll come back around again. But yet, what about you? How your awareness?
I've heard about light language from my friend who's also into healing. She's doing it, but I actually do not know how it really is. But in my mind, I've experienced this. If you know, in the 80s, there's this Life in the Spirit seminar. It's like a charismatic thing, and then there's the gift of the Holy Spirit, and one of them is the gift of tongues. I don't know if it is the same as that. No, in my mind's question, is it like the gift of tongues? So I do not know actually.
Okay, interesting. So my interpretation or experience of it, it's like this language that just speaks to us on so many levels, and I've heard different versions. To me, it's like the examples I would give, I can relate them to. It's like it sounds like someone, those Star Trek fans out there, it sounds like someone's speaking Klingon, or the Lord of the Rings, it's like the Elfish. It just sounds like a different language, an ancient language, but there's something about it that seems to catch our attention. And when I first heard it, I laughed my head off because I was like, what is this? And I heard about it before. And then and then I had a, I guess, spontaneous explosion of sound and language that I couldn't comprehend cognitively, but it was coming through me. And so 4 different dialects came through, ironically, on the 12-12-12 date. And at that time, I was kind of really in denial of anything spiritual or synchronistic or anything like that.
How did you know? How did you know they were dialects? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure, they sounded different and they felt different. And I guess that's the only way, I guess dialect seems the best way of me describing that. And then I just started asking questions and then started exploring, because as most of us do, it's like we go down this rabbit hole, and with us, most of us exploring sounds, it almost loosened up the tongue. And some people call it glossolalia or speaking in tongues. But there's just this freeness in the mouth and allowing that energy to come through. So my interpretation of light language or language of light is an expression of energy or consciousness, or energy of consciousness. A consciousness that is wanting to be expressed. Now, for some people, that could be galactic languages. So some people like to express the energy from the Pleiadians or the Arcturians, for those that into the star realms. Or maybe there's an ancient earth language. And I've had some people describe the language of light as like a seed language. So this is where my limited knowledge of the seed languages of on Earth. I guess there are, I think it's 5, is it? I don't know if anyone on the panel knows. There are certain seed languages that of ancient times that all languages stem from. So what else is possible? That's my interpretation. So what's happening, what I'm witnessing, is that a lot of people are now opening up, I guess, through sounds, energies themselves. And for me, expressing light language through speaking it is acknowledging more of self. So I've also noticed not only speaking it, but there's scripture or glyphs around it, and there's also sign language in terms of hand movements. So that's my awareness around light language.
Right. So how many when you were in London, did you meet a lot of people who were doing light language? Was it more prevalent? Like in the United States, I haven't seen it or heard about it often.
Yeah, there were quite a few. And at the time, well, I guess it was only my awareness. Maybe it's been around a lot longer. Like I said, like people speaking in tongues, that's been around forever. I guess more in a spiritual scene. Yeah, there was quite a few. And the lady who I first heard was actually from New Zealand. Her name's Judy Satori, and she does light language transmissions, she calls them. And then when I heard this lady who actually trained me with the voice stuff, Amanda Kent, she was an opera singer, it was the first time I actually cried. So when I heard her do her version of light language, it was like a familiarity. And I think that's the key thing. It's not like just a made up language. The energy behind it, there's something about it that sparks something, that awakens something within you. Right. So I'm keen to discuss, well, yeah, I've had that. We just didn't call it light language. We just called it whatever, a spiritual experience. Well,
when we were in at the 9-day intensive with Jonathan Goldman a couple of summers ago, there was a moment where we were in that small chapel, and there were crystal bowls, or they were quartz crystal bowls that they were playing. And a few of you were doing light language. I had never been around people who were doing it. And had the crystal bowls going at the same time. I swear to God, I felt like my cells were going to explode. It was so intense and so beautiful. And when the light language started, several of you guys didn't even know you were going to do it. And you just kind of like looked at each other and were like, light language. And so cool. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. And even on the day of toning, we did. I think we were all invited to contribute. I can't remember. It was an honouring and opening of the circle that we were invited to do, and each of us were invited to do that. And a lot of us contributed languages, and it was the hair's standing on end. So I don't know if anyone else has any questions or experiences they had and go, yeah, that's what's happened, or how they may apply it into their maybe healing sessions or sound baths or even everyday conversations.
For me, it arose during my healing sound sessions. Spirit demanded that I start singing during my Reiki sessions, and that's why I looked for Jonathan Goldman. That's why I looked for you guys to figure out what is going on in my world. And so it started as very simplistic toning, but very quickly it turned into a beautiful sound of emotion that goes beyond words. And since then, I think there's far more people than we know who actually do it, to tell you the truth. I know I have met 3 people here in Saskatchewan that do it, and I'm sure there's much, much more. I think it's very intuitive. I think it's very natural. I think it's one of the most beautiful expressions of sound that someone can do, and it's a channeling of sound. It's trust, and it's love. It's just pure love.
Mm. I was listening to a few things on YouTube, and one of the things they spoke about was the frequency is just a higher frequency when light language is channeled. It said that it stirs up the lower frequencies so that they can expand and change, and so that the higher frequencies from this language, or talking in tongues, or whatever you want to call it, it shifts and changes things. And I think it's wonderful that we don't understand that it is nonsensical, that it's not a linear language that we know. I don't know of anyone who has been able to translate what comes out, and I don't think it's necessary to, because it's just so pure, what I've heard of it, that it's not necessary. It translates itself, right?
The impact on people is huge. It opens. There's a heartfelt connection that happens. I think, or at least that's my resonance with it. It's like how you Yile, when you first heard it, and it was like, oh my God, like what is that? And like, oh my God, that feels so good, and it does feel so good. It makes people feel wonderful. It's softening, it's gentle. I don't have the words for it. I was hoping you guys are doing pretty good, so I'll let you guys continue.
Yeah. There are no words for it, in fact. It's perfect. I want to get back to what she was saying about channeling, is that it is a channeling. I never considered myself to be a channeler, because I'm a professional singer. So for me, it was just, I was singing, but I never realized that I have been channeling, and it's something that I only have been aware of in the last few years. And this, I don't know if I'm singing light language. I know that I'm singing something that I don't know what I'm singing, but it really feels good, and it's fun. So if there's nobody who has ever done it that's online today or that's listening today, try it. You know, just let the sound come through you and don't judge it when it's coming out. Get out of the way so it can come out. And just allow it to flow. Because I think that it is not a coincidence that all of us are women here on this call. Another thing I heard was that light language is feminine. It is the reintroduction of the feminine energy that is so required at this time in our history, or her story.
Mm.
No.
So what would be fun? Do we want to have a go with accessing and sharing, contributing what would like to come through now?
Works for me.
Works for you. How are we going to do this? One at a time or together? Or
Yeah, the funny thing about being online, which we discovered, Yile and I, when we had sound toning online, is that the microphone kind of like moves around a little bit. So it's pretty cool because it doesn't necessarily take all of us speaking at the same time, even though the recording does, that we might not. Anyway, we can do it. Should I bring out a bowl or something?
Sure, up to you. Yeah, whatever you
have a bowl or whatever you guys want to do. Any suggestions? People are already preparing for light language.
It's just simple.
I'll just grab my bowl because it's right here.
So anyone could just do it. I mean, should there be any activation first, or it could just?
I guess we can. This is what I take to my students, and it's just kind of making up a language first, and
What's this old bowl?
and oh, it's James.
Someone you know.
Yeah. And so the practice is just like loosening up the tongue. So the exercise I take people through is just like speaking a baby language, and so just going blah 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 blah. So if you all do that, and it's like speaking baby language, and then as we've learned on our course, and for those that haven't, is that Jonathan Gordon has taught us that frequency plus intention is the healing. So if we add an intention behind it, so what intention could we have? For example, okay, let's access something that would like to be acknowledged now, or something along those lines, or what energy would be healing or peaceful. So it's that kind of bringing that intention through with the babble, if you like. So if we do the baby talk, the making up language, it's funny because it's quite expressive. He goes blah 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 blah. I had toast this morning. Blah 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 mama, you know.
Okay. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Same time?
Yeah, for now. And then I think we'll just know who wants to speak. Okay. Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah,
Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Wala. Sana yani. Wala. Yani. Sana. No. Yana. Yana. Sana.
So now do it again and then tap into an energy that's now ready to be expressed. What is it you know that is now ready to be expressed? What energy is out there? What energy streams of consciousness out there are now ready to be expressed?
And can
as sounds, tones, and light language.
And please allow all of these words to be in the perfect vibration, frequency, and tone for all living things to understand. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Kuini mana te mai ne nana. Sui te ne ke nana. Kumuno ine yana ine. Pui yanata.
Hai nasi hana, wana hana e hana se. Ana hoyane hana o. Ayana sono. Hana hane hina.
Ramanana Kennedy, Shanda the Kondo, Shanda, Luna, Shana, but the Kana, the Shandana, but the Kodo, the Shana, the Canada, Shanda, but the Kodo, the Shanda.
O te mate kata mo te chokono te padadada si te poko cha kana te pote haska haskan te po te tempore ya hate ni te pa pa
Inimero se però la electorali carsigas. E cagare no non ma indica scala che chiede scuola e casca. E che tu ora man hormon carcasca skegli holy caskin. E che scala non na band kan che sigin no la shakas. Che che pot met na on call cas to cortege job call che che non che no che che wa qua.
Kimona yana te e mo i ne tai te te mai kui te mai te kamana mo tui te fuku i ne manai. Hunu kia mani te e nana te e na mo vone ke na wa te su tui ne ma.
Soia que te popaye satate ay 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 punna takaya tataya tampoy.
Ay, da puto, da scena, da cara. Da scena, da cara, da scinda, badare, da scinda, da scinda, da scinda, da ashana, da coda, da shunda, da crede, da scena, da cara. No, la shuna, da crede, shana.
E todo man to kar kan shoot ke pala chka kat to ne kar kan lo en me te kar kan so kan kan ya wat one man shka na hen kar kan kan kat what one kat was kat ma ta lot kan kan no kan kan Sigaret kategorit
Hana, hana si hana. Hana, 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 ho. Ana si hana, ni hana, ho. Hana, sayana, na, hina, ke hana, sayana. Ona ha, hina, hayane. Hayana, sono, ho, hana. Hina, hayane. Ha.
How amazing is that? Okay, is there anything else? Wow. I feel all tingly all over.
Top of my head is just like buzzing. Woo!
I know.
Woo!
So would anyone like to share or comment on just that experience? That is for the people that are watching or maybe watching this later about, you know, sensations in the body, or what was it like to speak? Was it new for you? Is it different?
I realize it's what I also do when I was telling about the speaking in tongues. It's basically the same. So it's just allowing the what to call it, the spirit or what's there inside the energy to speak.
Mm.
It's making me go deeper.
Mm.
Nice.
Very nice. Yeah.
For me, I always wait to, it seems like my heart is just bursting to express so much, and it just feels like it just has to come out. And I just realized I should do it more because it feels so good. I guess I should rattle around the house talking to myself.
Yes. Yes, yes, nice.
So for me, this is the first time I've done it with other people around. So I was actually like, oh, is anything gonna happen? um, and so, but it just came. It was just like tapping right into the first time again, and it just came. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
So thank you.
So do you think it's accessible whenever you require it?
If I choose.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, very cool. Oh, loved it. I have to, I've been creating a sound bath once a week, and I just got new crystal bowls. So I've been playing with them and then allowing myself to channel sound. And I never considered myself doing light language, but apparently I have been all along. And I have so much fun with the bowls. They talk to me. I'm guided to certain bowls. I stay with certain bowls longer and create melodies or certain, like you said, different dialects. I would never have called them dialects, but like a shift in energy. And when I would shift to a bowl, I'd get a whole nother download of sounds. So how fascinating. It's been fascinating, and I'm so grateful that I get to do it every week. You know, I'm inviting more and more sound lovers to experience sound, you know. It's such a gift. And it's so accessible. It's, you know, it's everywhere.
And that's it. And that's what I love about the sounds we do. It's that there's so much to explore, and I was thinking that when you're talking about where you're kind of channeling music, and we're all channeling art or channeling expressions through different ways. We're always doing it, and I guess it's just the semantics of that. And I always thought about your jazz. What do you call it? Scat. When you do the it's like channel the form of light language.
It is a form of light. You are so right.
Yeah.
You are so right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
How much fun! And I think that's what I would definitely want. The message, the narrative I would like to share with the light language is that it is accessible for everyone, and how much fun can you have with it, and what can you create with it? And like I mentioned about the exploring different energies, but also the applications. So not only through the voice, but you can write it as well. I don't know if people have seen that or experienced it themselves when they start writing, maybe doodling. They go, oh, that's not, it looks like a language, but it doesn't. But
Right. Yeah.
Kind of stuff.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah.
The flyer that I made is I got offline, and it's light language, and I know that Yile has some. Did you bring some of your light language stuff to show?
Oops, I should. Oh yeah, that's where we go. Sorry, twisting around.
No problem.
What was the other thing I was going to say? And the interesting thing is that I've shared some of this on YouTube, and and there's someone else has a similar script, and that really freaked me out. It's like, what? Again, kind of like, my God, that looks like my doodles. Because you think I'm just doodling,
Right.
But it looks like the same. So there's different types. So one's more like
a fellow. It was from the same planet. You guys were doodling from the same planet.
Yeah. So there's more that are more scripty.
So cool. Can you get
like
a little
that.
closer? Yeah. Oh, that's
Oh, I
awesome.
do need to, say something so it's on.
Oh, wow.
So there's that type, and there's different types. What I've seen.
I like that you have it in silver, though. That's cool.
A bit more scripty. That felt like I guess the nature spirits with the tree.
Nice.
So that's more like vertical.
Yeah.
Or you just doodle it like that?
I just allow my hand to do whatever it wants, and sometimes it's really flowy like this.
Like light language, writing it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
and then
right.
this one was quite
All right.
angular, quite bulky, different things.
Wow.
And sometimes they're just drawings, or sometimes they're a bit more like hieroglyph, like this.
So cool. I really like that.
Yeah.
So I wonder what it can create, because my friend, I showed this to my friend Bernie, and he went, how many have you got? And he just put them in this grid, and then he arranged them in this grid, and they just created this, I don't know, energy portal, energy thing. But because I was like, oh my goodness, it was like a jigsaw puzzle. And then the way he arranged it was like a grid, and it just created this different thing. I was like, wow, what else? What else are these energy expressions creating? Because I guess when you go to a gallery, right, when you go to see Monet or whatever, it's like it really stirs something within you.
Right.
And I think this is just like another level. The light language for me is just, we're ready to receive a whole lot of another level of energies that are uplifting us even more and expanding our being.
Absolutely. I just feel that everything that we just did created this beautiful flow, this beautiful vibration that just like a soft explosion out everywhere, because we're in all different corners of the planet. And that's just, wow, how cool. I just had this idea of taking the recording and playing with all the different sounds that we make. If you guys do that, layering them maybe with some music underneath. If you guys give me permission, if you'd allow me. I mean, I can put names on it or not, but if you give me permission, I would love to.
That'll be cool.
Awesome.
Play.
Awesome. Really lovely. I'm so grateful that you guys showed, that all of us are here. Just thank you. Wonderful. Yay. So is there anything else that it's so funny. I mean, then if the gift of tongues, or the Tower of Babel, perhaps that's it was just like this flow of all the languages of the universe coming through, and not just on this planet. Just a big antenna, like a tower. Just bring all the languages in. I wouldn't be surprised.
And it's interesting how many expressions of that. I was just rewatching a thing on YouTube, which I highly recommend. It's The Science of Sound, and there was a neurolinguist, is that right? On the panel, neurolinguist. He was talking about the patterns of speech, and how is it that even on Earth that we have all these diverse languages and interpretations, but the energy behind it we could really kind of get. When someone's angry, it's kind of quite universal. And there's different ways of expressing that.
Yeah. Right.
So it's just the beauty of us as individuals, how we express ourselves with this body and with our language, and how we sing and how we tone. That just makes it so much more fun to play with. Like, wow, how many different ways can we express love and freedom and peace?
Right. It's remarkable.
just to share also, in my when I do my one-on-one healing, I I would do similar to this, but I would call it spirit singing, singing like singing in tongues. So that's just like what you did, Karen. You
Yeah.
sang, and then most of my clients would say afterwards that during the time that I did the spirit singing, there's this image of someone that a grandfather or the parents would come into their consciousness, and that's when um, an inspiration would come to them.
Mm.
Uh, they come to me with a certain concern, and then uh, when they had that vision of this person or whatever it is, they were inspired to get the answer from that. So at the end, it is them who got the answer themselves, you know. But it was during the time that they said that when I was spirit singing, that the image would come. There were about um, two or maybe about five clients who have told me that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you, I guess you must have a gift to open certain pathways of,
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
well,
Maybe. So it
you're the
was.
catalyst, at least. You're the one who's turning on the trigger, opening the faucet.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Just
Because a lot of times, we do a lot of work, we do a lot of healing, but we don't know exactly what it is we're doing. We just know that things are shifting and changing, and you just have to trust, allow, and be, and have the faith to know that what you're creating is moving mountains. You just don't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, I think the
Yeah,
key word
I
that
see.
someone said was the allowance. Allowance. Sorry, Catherine.
No, I agree with you. Yet I use this language in my song during my healings all the time. It 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 flows through the body, and it tells stories, and it reaches beyond heights that I could have never imagined. And it creates shift, and it brings peace, and people follow it, and they find their way.
Mm.
And I wish I had better words for that. I don't. I just trust, and something always wonderful happens. Always something comes out. Yeah.
The words you used were pretty good.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah, those words were pretty good.
Maybe I better stick to the other language.
Let me speak to you this way, and then and break into the whole nother language. Like, I'm sorry, what language is that?
Yeah, I find earth language quite difficult. I stumble over my words sometimes. It's like blah 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 blah.
Language actually can be so limiting, sometimes when you're trying to express an energy, a vibration, a feeling. It's just like, what?
Oh, and misunderstood.
Mm.
I don't feel like light language is misunderstood.
Good point. Good point. Absolutely. Ooh, wow. Yeah. It's like it's like everybody shifted into a different place. As soon as after we went from the baby language, which was like loosening up the muscle, and baby language is so expressive and understood even though you don't speak it, right? And we all did it, and then it was like we rose to the occasion, shall I say. Pretty awesome. Yay. Okay, so we have to close up our conversation today. It was such a pleasure having all of you. Please join us as often as you can. Like I said, if there's something that you'd like to talk about, we can do more light language. We can go into it even deeper. However you'd like to play, but we certainly love having playmates. Right, Yuli?
Yeah, that's for sure. And this seems to be a good time with the different time zones we've covered here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it is. What time is it? What time is it, Yile?
For New Zealand, it's now 4:40 in the afternoon. What
Right.
time is it in your
It's
time
10,
zone?
it's 20 to 11 at night in Canada here,
Right.
in the prairies.
And it's
And you're yet?
9:40.
Okay, 9:40.
It's 12:40 in noon.
The afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I will let all of you know, if not me or Yile will let you know when we're meeting again. I will post it and she will post it. And I think what was one of our next discussions? Do you remember? I can look down.
I can't remember. We did talk about 2 topics.
Here it is. Oh, what are your singing bowls telling you?
That's it.
One of them. And what frequency are you plugged into? And that's spreading the awareness of how frequency affects our lives and where people are in their frequencies. So those are a couple of topics that have come up. If you guys have any that you'd like to mention off the top of your head, I will put it on the list and we can talk about it. But it's about once a month. It's not, not every week or, not a serious commitment, just a joyful conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for putting this up.
Thank you for joining. Yile and I we've been consistent with it, and the conversation always gets better and better.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All righty. So, anybody want to add something? Catherine, you started to say something.
Thank you.
Oh,
I'm just so happy to see your faces and talk to you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're all beautiful. All right, so we'll see you next time. Thank you for those who are listening or watching after the fact. The energy is continuing to go, and if you'd like to rewind and listen to those beautiful representations of language that is light, please rewind and listen to it, because I think there's a lot of magic in there. Thank you once again, my buddy Yile. I adore you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you all. See you next
Thank you,
time.
Gary.
See you next
Bye-bye.
time. And this will be put on YouTube, so you can listen to it again and share it with your friends.
Yay. All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.